You've entered the Houston Running Zone, the ultimate podcast for runners in the Houston area, featuring the everyday runners who inspire us, clubs, gear, races, and runcations. Houston, we've got the runs.
All right, today in the zone, I have a real treat for you guys. He goes by the Instagram handle Every Single Street Houston. And as it sounds, he's going to be running every single street in Houston. Here to give us the story and, of course, the inspiration is Brandin LeBlanc. Brandin, welcome to the zone.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited about this.
Awesome. Likewise. So normally I do some research, but once our mutual friend, Lillian, who's a Houston Marathon ambassador, a slow Kenyan runner, is her Instagram handle. Give her a shout out. And she tagged me on a post and said, I got to get this story. I did a couple of things. Like I kind of know that you've done at least 2,500 of the streets, but I said, I got to get this story. So how in the world did you start this? Did you say, were you a runner and say, well, I don't want to do like some people have like a goal of a half marathon or a marathon. You're like, I want to do every single street in Houston. That's totally unique. Yeah,
for sure. I'd say I'm definitely like interested in projects around running. There's a couple
project,
yeah. It is a project, yeah. There's this guy from Australia named Bo Miles. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he does a lot of projects around running. So I took some inspiration from him. There's an ultra runner, Ricky Gates, who ran across the United States. And then there's the one who actually started this in San Francisco and did every single street in San Francisco. So I heard about it from him as well.
Well, now that I'm looking at your shirt, of course, you know, we're audio only here, but you have the Marathon Project shirt on. Did you run the Marathon Project too? And you're like, hey, projects are projects, or?
No, I didn't run the Marathon Project. They did like a virtual thing as well. And like, this was like the best thing to come out of it. So we did kind of recorded our miles and stuff. And, but yeah.
Yeah. You said projects. I saw your shirt. So, you know, inspiration aside, like it's a lot of work to do this. Did you like, you know, scout it out and say, okay, it's going to take me X amount of months or years to do this, or you just kind of chip it off?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into it. I'd be further along if I wasn't like a Nike Plus runner a few years back, because they don't have any way to chart where you were and put that on the map. I switched over to Strava in, I think it was like April of 2019. And it was for one feature. It was their Heatmap feature. Because I had been running all over the place and I just really wanted to see where I had ran. And then I moved neighborhoods in December of 2019 and was really curious about where I was going to be living. I think that it's like important to know where you live. It's important to get to know the community and not just like on your commute to work in your car. And so I started to explore where my new neighborhood was in Spring Branch area of Houston. And then I was like, man, I've started to do a lot of the city. Like, let me see if I could make this more of a project. And I found this website called City Strides. And that's where I track everything now. I would encourage anybody to get it. It's really cool. You hook your Strava or your Garmin up to it. And you can see, similar to how I do, just all the places that you ran. And super neat. So I decided, you know, at that point, I think I'd done like 3% of Houston or something. And I was like, oh, let's just keep going. This will give me something to do. So
is it the Houston like city limits? And obviously you run other places, but is that where you're trying to knock off, like within city limits?
Yeah. So everything Houston city limits, which goes from like Kingwood to almost Sugarland down to Pearland, League City almost, and almost all the way up to parts of Cypress. So yeah, it's pretty big actually.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll get some momentum. So like, you know, running clubs will know when you're going to be in their area and, you know, set up aid stations or, you know, cheer stations, you know, whatever you need. Cause this is cool. I mean, you know, you're kind of like you're going to be like the local celebrity. I know you're humble here, but okay. So cool. So, and you're at 2,500 streets so far, or that's one of the posts you had, right?
Yeah, I'm up to a little over 2,800 now, which is about a little more than 21% of all of the city completed.
Okay, so complete is 12,000.
How many streets there are? Yeah. There's 13,216 today. But I'll tell you what, man, that number keeps going up.
Before Google Map hits it or whatever tracking they're using to sync it. Oh, yes. My goodness. Well, yeah, that is awesome. So, I mean, were you always a runner and then you like, projects, or did you do races before, or you just like to keep in shape? I mean, what kind of runner? You look in shape, so obviously, but what kind of runner are you?
Yeah, I think it's kind of always been a part of my life in some way. Soccer was my favorite sport growing up, so I always ran a ton in that. And then I was on like the junior high and high school cross country teams. So I've always kind of been a runner or enjoyed it. I definitely like the competition of it a lot more than I do now. And now I genuinely just enjoy the community of running. And I enjoy like getting to know people. I hope that something that can come out of this is like, I get to come and run with others and they're part of Houston and get to hear their story and, and see some of the streets along with them. And I still do race. My wife is a runner as well. And like my favorite thing in the world is to pace her to the top of the podium, or just for her to reach her goals. And so, yeah. I mean, I just enjoy the community of running a lot more now than the competition. But I do get out there and race every once in a while. So,
well, yeah, when you go to an area or when you plan, I know sometimes it's probably spur of the moment and schedules change, especially because you wife, family, you got the whole shebang here. First of all, I want to make sure to ask how you schedule these things out. But yeah, put it out there like, hey, I'm going to be in the XYZ, and people will start tagging the running clubs because there's so many more that we don't know exist that they would love to run with you. I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And yeah, it really is. It is planned in some ways, but a lot of it is spur of the moment, or if I know I'm going to be in this part of town or whatever it is, then I try to snag some streets while I'm around there. So,
yeah. Well, you mentioned races and helping pace your wife. So what are some of your favorite races that you like to do together, or that, whichever, we'll give them a shout out there. Local.
Yeah.
How about that?
We go up and run the Cowtown every year in Fort Worth.
Nice.
My wife's from the Fort Worth area. And so that's something, and they have a 50K race there, a road ultra. And I've done that a couple of times. And that's probably my favorite race that I've done, is because you can get out and move pretty quick on the roads as opposed to the trail ultras. And so that's probably my favorite race I've done. We're doing the half this year and running it with my sister-in-law. And so really looking forward to that.
Okay, super cool. Any in Houston that you like, or you normally try to make it a destination?
Yeah, for the most part, other than that, we don't do a ton of road racing. Like we are doing Houston this year. My wife and I are both guiding visually impaired athletes for Catapult.
Nice.
And so we are partaking in Houston this year, but we love to trail race. So like this past summer, we planned a vacation to Arizona and did a trail race at night out in the desert, and it was super fun. So if we race, we try to get out on the trails, and that's where my next race is coming up also on the trails.
Okay. So are you involved in any like the FFP clubs? Because I know they have a big catapult help as well, or they love to help catapult.
Yeah. I on Mondays, we run with City Center Run Club out here on this side of town. And then every Friday we go and run with Freaks Run Club on Fridays, and we pop around to different breweries around town. And that's a real good attitude.
Yep, small world there. Yeah, I love their group and what they're doing just to get people active, which is awesome. Sure. Every single street, I could do like maybe every single beer in Houston. I'm just trying to imagine. Okay, 13,000 streets. I mean, how are you? I'm still, how are you trying to figure this out? Or you just kind of know? I mean, you have to plan it out a little bit to make the most out of your time.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's part of it, that if I didn't enjoy that process, I couldn't do this project. I love planning out the maps and the routes and trying to make my routes as efficient as possible, which is hard sometimes. There's a lot of doubling back on cul-de-sacs. That's one thing I've learned about Houston is full of cul-de-sacs. and dead end roads. But yeah, it is. It definitely takes a lot of planning, and especially we try to get my daughters out in the strollers also. And so like, where are the areas that I can go and knock out that aren't going to be stroller friendly, that maybe don't have that they're too busy of streets, they're not going to be quiet, we're going to be crossing a major road or something. And I try to knock those out myself, and then tackle some of the streets that are more stroller friendly with the whole family.
Okay, excellent. So are you mostly letting people know via Instagram, or do you have any other type of like video blog, or do you plan on making a book someday? What's your grand plan? Or are you just kind of playing it by ear and see what comes up?
Yeah, that's really where I am. One of my friends, Patrick, he asked me like what I hope this becomes one day. And, I told him that it'd be kind of cool if it could turn into like the Humans of New York thing. Which is like this Instagram page, that kind of tells the story of different people. And that's what I've enjoyed most, is like getting to meet different people throughout the parts of Houston that I've been in so far. And so, but yeah, just have Instagram. That's what, I didn't even have that. And I was doing this and someone said, you should like tell people about this. You should create an Instagram. And so I did one year. And, actually I just, at the beginning of the year last year is when I made my first Instagram post. And so, it's been really cool to get to meet so many people though. And yeah, I just hope to be able to continue to run with others in their part of Houston.
That's super cool. And I always tell people, like, if you don't feel you want to do like a public video blog, you could just record on your phone, or you could privatize a YouTube video, maybe when you cross 5,000 or something, what are your thoughts going through your head? Because, we're only one podcast here. So many people may want to see this. Your kids may want to see this when they start remembering, like, we used to go a lot in the stroller.
Yeah.
Well, obviously there's a lot of, different neighborhoods, and it's such a diverse, I love, I'm not from Houston. Most people in my age aren't from Houston. It's just so diverse. Like, are there any like surprises? Like, nothing surprises me anymore. There's so much different food and cultures. I love it. Or anything that was like a big surprise, like I didn't know this existed.
I discover that all the time. The one thing I will say is that running so many parts of Houston so far, you can tell how diverse Houston is. I 100% agree with that. And on the other side of that, it's still like segregated in many ways. And so, you can be running in one neighborhood and you cross the road and the houses and the infrastructure and the road maintenance and everything completely changes. And so that's one of the things that's been the most surprising to me, is just how highways really divide the city. How some of these major roads are really just like dividing points on racial lines, on socioeconomic lines, and how just it was designed that way. And unfortunately, you can still see the effects of that. And so that's one thing that I've learned a lot. I think that I will also be, your audience can't see me. I'm a white male. And I think that there is a lot of privilege that comes with this project. And I probably couldn't even do this project in the same way if I wasn't a white male. I've never been stopped. I've never been questioned in any parts of Houston that I've been in, and my wife, sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional talking about this. I think that there's just being a white male gives me so much more privilege than I realized. And being a part of this project is just like illuminates that all the time. So I think it's just really to name that.
Yeah. And I kind of wondered, like, talk with the Houston Area Roadrunner Association presidents and things like that. And it's like, if we just get people out and about and together, we'll start seeing the similarities, not the differences.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure it's an old cliche there, but yeah, I kind of wonder if we could, let people know that you're going to be in a specific area. I'm sure they would love to run with you. It doesn't matter, where they're from or, or what they believe, or, obviously skin color is totally obsolete in my opinion, obviously. I mean, most people listening to it. So, I mean, do you ever, find something, besides architecture and things like that, or something that you say, this has blown me away that this is here. How about that? Like, something that's like a temple. I see like random temples somewhere. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. Anything that, maybe architecture.
Yeah, I think that the parks really surprised me. Like I'd be running somewhere and I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be a great place to bring my daughters to. And we do that all the time. And then we'll go there and let them play on the playground before. And there are amazing churches that I'm like, oh, I've heard of that, or I've listened to a sermon from that church before. I didn't know that this was here. And then like one of the best things is taco trucks, honestly. And so finding different, places that I would stop around town. Some of my runs that I do, my wife will drive me across town and drop me off. And then like, all right, I'm just going to go and run. And then you can meet me back here. And so I just, take my credit card, take some cash and ID and go out, and I may stop at a gas station and at a taco truck. And that's kind of my fuel for, I may run 20, 30 miles. And so definitely like exploring the different food along the way and talking with people, in those places, telling them what I'm doing. Whenever I'm running past someone on the street, I usually try to, be as friendly as possible, and hear a little bit of their story, because in a lot of places, like I'm the only one running, that they're not used to seeing people necessarily running down the road, especially some of these long cul-de-sacs or something. Mm-hmm. And so definitely just try to meet as many people as possible and tell them what I'm doing. And it's always been a great conversation.
Yeah, maybe you should do every time you go for a run and you find like a really hidden gem, put that up there for, taco trucks. Gas station tacos too are sometimes the most amazing things I've found.
Yeah.
20 years ago, people think I was crazy. But it's such an awesome city for food. So, with family, obviously you can bring the kids and the wife from some of the runs. Like, are you scheduling these things out? Like, because, I have a daughter as well. Like, you have to figure this out, and we have other responsibilities. Do you schedule it out for like a week, or you just kind of say, hey, does this work? I gotta go.
Yeah, for sure. We try, like, I'd say like right now as an example, people are starting to put up their Christmas lights. And so that's a great way. We've been saving some of the streets where we know there's going to be, awesome Christmas decorations, because my daughters would love to go out and, be in the stroller and see all the different things. And we'll play, they have to find a snowman, or they have to find, a gingerbread man or whatever. And so it's engaging for them. And so, yeah, that's always fun. Anytime there's like a holiday that people are decorating for, the girls love to see everything that's in the, in their yards and stuff. And so yeah, that's part of it. And it's just kind of always been a part of their life. Like, since the moment that they could be in a jogging stroller, that's been a part of what they're accustomed to. They go to school in the stroller. Sometimes we jog to school in the stroller, or they bike. There's only been a few days where we've actually had to drive, and because of rain or something. So, and the school's only about 1.5 miles away. But yeah, like that's just like we're trying to ingrain that in them as part of the culture. Even living in Houston, not the most commuter friendly city for pedestrians, but yeah, that's just kind of part of the expectations of what it is to be in our family. So.
You are in the Houston running zone. We've got the runs.
Yeah. I thought it was cool when I see people being dropped off in golf carts for their kids. Okay, so yeah, dropped off in a stroller. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get some fresh air. Awesome. So, do you have any sponsors or anything like that that's helping you along?
No, I don't. It's not like something I've really thought about or tried to pursue, but yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is just the community aspect. And that's who I consider to be my sponsors, and just like other
definitely.
people that reach out and want to go on a run with me. Or at some of these run clubs that we go to, I may modify the route a little bit if there's some streets around there I need to go down.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, if you had a dream sponsor, would it be for shoes, or what would be like, your go-to?
Yeah, I'd say definitely shoes. And I'm pretty cheap with shoes. Like, I definitely go for like a year or two's previous models. I don't need to have the newest things. And so, but I definitely go through some shoes, especially.
What shoes do you go through?
I run in Brooks, New Balance, Pumas, Nikes. So really anything. I'd say the shoes that I run in most are some New Balances and then the Brooks Ghost line. I love the Ghost. They have it is like another thing running in Houston, like especially if I'm running on the streets. That's like the whole point is there's like broken glass and nails and stuff all along the way. And so I need like a pretty good wide foot bedding. And some shoes that are going to last the mile. So, Brooks Ghosts are the ones I run into most, I think.
Okay. Someone knows, Brooks, Lillian said the same thing. Like Brooks is just taking over. Like, they're really, growing, not saying anything, bad about other companies, but they're just really awesome. Anybody know anybody with Brooks? Hook this guy up, get him a contact. And it's in a positive way. It's not like, oh, we're trying to get money. No, it's like, hey, these shoes are going to be through another 9,000 streets in Houston. So there you go. Right. That's cool. Well, I mean, any like crazy things? I mean, obviously you got to run into some stray dogs or, animals, raccoons, all sorts of stuff. Dogs
are the things that I'm scared of. Like, people have asked me like, what do you do like in the sketchy parts of Houston? And like, I think that they're most of the time what they're thinking is like, sketchy being people. And people have been great everywhere I've gone. But there have been quite a few wild dogs, or maybe not wild dogs, stray dogs. One time I was in I guess probably is like just northern Houston. And I was kind of by this old boat junkyard type place, and 3 dogs came out at the end of a cul-de-sac and chased me. And I was like on top of a metal fence for about 10 minutes, just screaming, trying to get somebody to come and get the dogs. And so that was pretty scary. Sometimes on some runs now, like I have this little, like taser that I carry, and I never have to use it on a dog, but they just don't like the sound of it. And so like I'll pop the taser, and that kind of scares some of the dogs away. And then just have to be like pretty aware of your surroundings and not like take any chances. So if I try to plan my runs, if I know there's going to be dogs in the neighborhood, maybe if I've experienced them before there, at a time when there's going to be people out, and then on some of like the busier streets of Houston, I'll try to get up early on Sunday morning and go before church, before everybody is awake and there aren't too many cars on the road, and go out and get those streets. But yeah, I mean, people in general have been pretty great everywhere I've gone. And there was an owl that I scared one time, and I don't know if I scared it or it scared me more, but an owl just like flying straight at me. And so that was pretty crazy. But yeah, it's, you never know what you're going to see out there for sure.
So anything you're looking forward to, like, I know you've kind of, right now you've kind of done the Northwest side. Well, we haven't finished it, but you've done a lot of the Northwest side. Anything you kind of really looking forward to seeing in other parts of the city?
Yeah, so I work for a nonprofit, an educational nonprofit that serves in different high schools across Houston, in Aldine, in Spring Branch, and in Houston ISD. And so I've already knocked off quite a few of the schools, and just like seeing the neighborhoods around the schools and intentionally running all the streets. But just continuing to like run the streets around the schools where my organization serves. And so like better understanding, where those students come from, what their stories are based on that. And so that's something that I kind of always think about. I have a few routes already saved on my Strava of places that I'm going to go whenever I go and visit those high schools and do some runs from there. And so I try to plan them around something of significance in some way. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you were able to just go like a superhero and just tear off your clothes, and next thing you know, you're in running clothes, or can you, are they pretty much, laid back on your attire or?
Yeah, for the most part. Like if I know if I am going to go to a school for the day, which I don't do like terribly often. But if I'm going to go to a school for the day, I may get there like super early, and and then I have like some shower wipes in the car, and I'll shower like that. Or if I just do it after the meeting and then come home. And then the same thing with our office. I'll do some runs from there and stuff. So like depending upon what part of the city I'm in, I'll do runs from there. My daughters were taking ballet classes. And so I would try to get there early and like do some runs around there in that part of town. And so if I know I'm going to be somewhere, then definitely try to plan some streets and take advantage of it.
I'd imagine you have stuff in your car always, right?
Oh,
just in case of a running emergency or a detour.
We definitely keep some of the old shoes that have many miles on them. And I just have to every once in a while throw a few more miles on them. So, yep.
Well, any like unique architecture that you're really looking forward to that you know about?
So yeah, what I'm looking forward to is kind of the where kind of Brays Bayou goes over into like the medical district near the zoo and stuff. I haven't ran much down there, and just, it's not going to be along the bayou, right? Because that would be too easy. It's on the streets all around there, so the view isn't quite going to be the same. And then in the area around like Yates High School, U of H, TSU down there, just because there's a lot of history there as well. So.
Oh yeah. Third Ward is amazing. There's just so much there, so much building. Really keeping it up, which is nice.
And one thing right now, it's like I've ran the majority. So like I've ran about 10% area wise of Houston, which is about 20%, a little bit more than 20% of the streets. Because like as I go further east, there's more land area between of all the streets. There's just more factories out there, and there's more. And so I have many more miles to go. But as I go further east, like I'm not like I could run 5 miles and not knock off one street. Whereas if I run 5 miles around this area, I may knock off a few streets just because there's more cul-de-sacs and stuff. And so, like the way that I'm running and it's just changing as I get more into this project and further away from home.
Yeah, the industrial parts of town will be some long streets.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, what about logistics wise? I mean, what about like gated communities and things like that? Are you just kind of figuring out as you go, or have you ran into that issue yet?
No, definitely have. And I think that's part of like what I was talking about earlier, like running and like being very aware of the privilege that I have. Like I haven't had any hesitations around like jumping a gate if I need to, because I feel like, and I have been like, there's been neighbors like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just running all the streets. I'll be right in and right out. And so they're like, oh, okay, that's cool. And, they don't have any problem with me jumping their gate. And so, yeah, it's been, sometimes it's, I don't know, it's crazy and I feel bad or I'm like, I don't know if I should do this, but I always do it. And so, yeah. Yeah.
I think, most people are pretty okay with it. You don't have a sack or something.
Yeah.
You're trying to sneak by, but I definitely want to get you back on and to keep people updated. But there's got to be a way that we can, or if you say, I'm gonna start conquering the Northeast side, something like that, where we can go ahead and just let these run clubs know, because I think they really want to be involved, and then it's going to make a great story someday, whether you do video, book, a film, documentary. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Well, you're around schools. Maybe the AV club wants to start doing some documentary footage.
Yeah,
they need hours. Put it out there. Start getting that wheel turn in there.
Yeah, I mean, I still have years and years to go. So it's been about 2 years now, but the drives are getting further and further from the house to be able to find new streets. And so, and I try not to ever let, this project take precedent over family. And so, as my girls get older and get involved in more stuff, like who knows what it becomes, but, definitely am committed to the project for the long haul. So, yeah.
Well, obviously they're going to love some type of sport. So once they get in sport, next thing you know, you're driving all sorts of parts of town. So that'll be part of, your streets.
Exactly.
So, what are you looking at, another 4 years, or what are your thoughts? I have no idea how you're going to do this.
I really don't know. I think it'll be longer than that, honestly. I think because it's been so proximate to my house now that I'm able to knock off so much. But, now it's 20 minutes at a minimum to get to a new neighborhood. And so balancing that with work and picking up my kids from school and anything else in life, those demands. And so it is, yeah, it's going to be a project years in the making for sure. But I think one thing that would be cool and what I would love is like, if there's people that would like be cool with showing me around their part of Houston, that's another thing is I'm really motivated by the community. And so if I'm able to go out and do this and not, I don't really ever feel like I'm doing this selfishly or on my runs and I'm all by myself, but like if I'm out and like, this is like a productive part of my life in this project and, being a part of the Houston running community, then heck, I drive to Pearland, because that's part of Houston all the way down there, and so somebody wants to, to come out and show me their neighborhood, we can go and put in 3, 5, 10 miles, whatever it is, then I'd be really happy to do that.
Definitely. And when you say I'll be here, and then next thing you know, running clubs and groups, they would love to be involved. Before I have 3 lightning round questions before I ask you anything else you'd like to add as far as getting people out there or anything, you name it. You're an awesome dude.
I would just encourage anyone and everyone to do this in some way that they feel comfortable. So whether it's like just your own neighborhood, or maybe it's, you have a 5-mile drive to work, then like run to work one day or walk to work or whatever it may be. But just like, I would encourage everyone in some way to see how you can do a little bit of this project on your own, because it's changed my perspective on my neighborhood and the city of Houston as a whole. And I think we have a lot to learn from like truly seeing our city. So get out there and do it in some way.
Okay. And they'll be out there with you when they come when you let people know where you're going to be. So there you go. Awesome. Yeah. Let us know when you're, my area is pretty much Friendswood all the way up to LaPorte. I live in Clear Lake. So
okay.
I got contacts galore. So just let me know.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, I got 3 more questions for you, Brandon. It's called the lightning round. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Question number 1. If you could run with anybody famous, who would it be?
I think it might be my grandpa. We're on a run the other day and I was thinking about him because I was on Cross Timbers in Yale, I believe. Came by this restaurant called Barbecue Inn that we used to go to. And and he passed in 2016 from Alzheimer's just before I had this chance to start this project with him in mind. I know he would have been proud of me. And so it'd be really cool to have him back and just to talk all about life and my daughter's being born and all the way the worlds have changed since he passed. So yeah, I'd love to see him again.
Yeah. Life's about memories. Barbecue Inn, and it's an iconic place there. So that's awesome that you remember, and they're still good. So that's awesome. All right. And, I mentioned beer because I remember seeing you. I remember seeing an Instagram post here at St. Arnold. Well, I recognize St. Arnold. I'm not sure if you tagged it. It's weird. I recognize that. But in any case, what is your favorite after run beverage? And it could be, anything, everything from Gatorade or beer.
No, yeah, it's definitely a beer. And I'm not really picky on my beer. Although at Run Club, they do tend to make fun of me that I drink like the darkest porter, even in the summer, whenever I finish a run. And so typically the darker the beer, the better. And yeah, that's what I love about Freaks Run Club. It's just, we're at a different brewery every Friday. And so I get to drink lots of different Houston beer.
Oh, there you go. Oh, awesome. Yep. All right. And the last one, this is always my favorite because I always do this around lunchtime. So I get ideas, but what's your favorite culinary guilty pleasure?
Oh, man. It's good. Chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, and fried okra is... Yeah, I don't eat it often anymore, but if I do get the chance to if my grandma makes it or something, or my mom, then it is, just fantastic. So definitely that.
Nice. So yeah, obviously homemade is always the way to go, especially with chicken fried steak. But any local place that you like, obviously, maybe to like to celebrate the 5,000 mark or something like that. Any local place you like?
Oh man, Goodson's Cafe in Tomball is like where we would always go after church growing up. And so I'd have to say Goodson's.
Is that the place that has like the giant one?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Why do I know this information? Is it? Well, maybe that's how I knew you from there. Yeah. Once again, I definitely want you to head back on. I'll let you know when this obviously airs. But thanks so much for inspiring other people as well as we definitely want to reciprocate and get people to run with you.
For sure. This has been a lot of fun. Hope can connect with some more people on Instagram, and we can link up for some runs sometime. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Sounds terrific. Yeah. Thanks again. As always, if you know someone that could use this information, please share it with them. And if you want to become the first to find out about upcoming weekly episodes, simply hit the plus or follow button. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Stitcher, where you can leave us a rating or a review, we'd love it. And more importantly, looking forward to sharing another episode next week.
Thanks for visiting the Houston Running Zone. If you know someone you'd like to be featured in the zone, go to thehoustonrunningzone.com and send us a message. Until next week, always remember, Houston, we've got the runs.